Other side, back a little further, sir.
Good.
See that door back there?
Keep going.
Just ask if it's going.
No, the last game going out.
Sad? Are you on your way? Oh, okay. Are you here?
She was.
7, not 7:30.
She really.
Where is he home?
He thought it was 7:30.
You know, when I was working over at my mom's house today, I said, oh, I don't have to be there until 7:30. I go, oh, that was the old days.
Yeah, it's quite a while ago.
It was a long time ago. Get here at 7:30, you'll miss the meeting.
No, we'll go by that clock back there. It's 3 minutes.
I gave you every chance.
Could you reach? Okay, that $1.5 billion lottery. I won $31. See, it was sold in Florida. It was sold in.
I was only $15 invested in it, so.
Invested. 12, 3 of us. We want
$2.
Put their desk back at the office. It's so they can't- Yeah, that just came out of one of those. We'll figure out where. It wasn't another good trip.
That's the other good thing.
I don't use 365, but I would think it.
As far as
If you could sync the configuration across devices, that would be nice. If you're going from an iPhone to a laptop and it's running
Yeah, I
Windows,
don't
some of the
I
configuration.
don't have it on my phone at all yet, just the laptop, computer, which is best to have in the office. The office, here, if I go into contacts, I can see. It's not. Just the ones I put in.
Yeah, thank you. I ran over here.
So there's a sync feature. So you turn it up. Why, I don't know why you can't do the same thing across all places. I think you
Yeah,
have.
I got You see, it lists the contacts and it just says for this computer.
Okay, you're right.
And I go, how do I get that?
Okay, I'd like to call the town board meeting, in town of Horseheads, August 9th, 7 p.m. to order. Kathy, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ripko. Absent. Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Wilbur.
Here.
Mr. Ziegler.
When he arrives,
Mr. Fisher.
mark in the minutes when he arrives.
The timer. Here, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a motion to accept the minutes from July 12th and July 26th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Uh,
Mr. Ripko. Oops, I'm sorry. Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing payment of claims.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Item 4 is reports of town officers.
I move these reports be received and put on file.
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye.
Yeah, catch up.
Item 5 is correspondence and item 6 is a motion to receive the correspondence.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Item 7 is audience participation. Anything that is not on the agenda, we ask you to come to the podium, state your name and address, and the board will listen to what you have to say.
Name's Ryan Marzak, address 191 McCann Road, Horse New York. So mainly just a neighborhood complaint that's been ongoing for about 9 years since I've lived at the residence. I brought concerns up to the code enforcement, to a board member, to animal control in Elmira multiple times about the neighbors. First it was dogs, then it became horses and ducks and cows, and there's been complaints more to code enforcement and possibly the highway superintendent about horses defecating in our road and who's responsible for it. Ducks, the conversations that I've had with code enforcement and that they've told me have had conversations with the town attorney about where they're allowed to actually house the ducks and where they're, if they're even allowed to have them on their property, things like that. So we've never really come to a general consensus. I would just like an overall idea from you guys on what direction I should head with this and, actually what the law is in the town of Horseheads and how we're going to move forward with actually controlling some of the activity at my neighbor's house. So this is just a letter that we received from the neighbor's daughter, who I would say is in control of the ducks or horses and or cows. After an incident about a month and a half ago, with the neighbors riding the horses up and down the street and then defecating in the road and nobody really cleaning it up. My one neighbor, who's a better neighbor, was having a graduation party that night. So his daughter actually had to go down and clean up somebody else's mess. And usually, yeah, it's a couple weeks, we're driving through it, it's on our property. I have animals, I have a daughter, same with the ducks. It's constant all over my driveway in my yard. I have animals. I have a daughter that I don't want playing in this stuff throughout the year. So it's a little bit of more of a nuisance in the spring and summer. It kind of goes away a little bit in the winter, but it's something that shouldn't be overlooked on an overall basis. That's my general idea. So just looking for just some conclusion or some answers from the board.
Where are the horses? Where do they reside?
So I believe they rent some land from the landowners at the end of our dead end street.
Lewis's?
Yeah, I believe so,
they're
yeah.
in there, okay.
And then the ducks are actually housed on their property. They used to be about 20 feet off the road on the opposite side of the road where we all own a little bit of land. And then they picked up that shed and moved it a few months after they acquired the ducks. Some ducks have died, they've gotten new ducks, so it's gonna be an ongoing.
Where did
issue.
they move the shed? from?
Next to their house, just on the other side of the road, right behind it. So what I had heard from code enforcement was 100 yards from any roadway. So I don't think that fits in the scope, but again, just looking for some overall clarification on the law and things like that.
Okay,
So you said the ducks do leave that other house and.
Yeah, I've sent many pictures to code enforcement of them all over my property every hour of the day, every day of the year type of thing. So
has code enforcement asked you to fill out a complaint?
I thought that the emails suffice for that. I asked them, listen, what do I need to do? So
Okay.
what is the overall? Yeah, so I don't think that they've gotten to that point, and I view that as a horrible misstep on their behalf, but that's just me, because I've literally asked over and over every year, what can I do? What do I need to do? So.
Okay. All right, the horses, because of where they reside, are not an issue. The issue with the road and where they're defecating is the town highway superintendent issue. If he has to clean it up, we will suggest that he make sure that he keeps the time for the people who has to do it, and we basically send them a bill
Understood.
for it at that point in time. The ducks, unless they pick the ducks up and move them to more than 250 feet off the road, they're not allowed to have them.
Okay.
So we will we will, I will talk to code enforcement, tell them to get you in, file a complaint. Violate the people with regard to the ducks, and we'll end up here in court.
Okay, and I believe the code has done their due diligence and gone up and measured and scoped out everything. And again,
The little bit I talked to them, I know they've been up there a couple.
Well, it's 250 feet. It's, I mean,
Yep.
250 feet is not next to the road
Right.
at this point in time. And I don't know what their depth of their property is, whether they even have 200. I'd assume they do, but
yeah, I'm not sure what it is to the woods edge either, so.
yeah, so I don't know that.
Okay.
But that's what I'll recommend to code.
Okay.
To do so that we get it moving at that point in time. But there, everybody up in that area, everybody within 250 feet of the roadway are in a residence A zone. And you cannot harbor animals in a residence A zone. Ducks are an animal at that point in time. So we will see what we can do from there.
That's all I can ask. I appreciate it.
If your neighbors, I don't know how far apart you are, if they have a concern too, have them file a complaint also.
The neighbor that's also,
Other neighbors.
Other neighbors.
Other,
It just adds a little. to
they
it.
just acquired the property next door from the elderly gentleman that passed away, so now they own their 5 and another 7, and then the Lewis's farm at the end. And then there's me between Brian Liddy.
you guys,
Doesn't really deal with it.
are they? Come here. Tell me who's,
Liddy, me, Crosley. That was Arnie Jones, so they've now acquired all that property all the way.
so
down to the-
this is them here,
Yep,
and this is now them here.
yep, but it's mainly this area in here and then my property. They've never really made it over to the Liddy's property, the ducks, because again, this is like a wooded area between myself and Brian.
Okay.
Yep.
But everybody's on the same side of the
Yeah,
road.
there's no houses on it.
And what's,
They own that property. There's a basketball court. I'm not sure who owns this. They kind of maintain it. They mow it. I own a little bit across the street like that pizza pie right there.
Yeah.
Yep, and
Yeah.
then Liddy not as much. It's I don't know the lady's name down in the dip where Ormiston and McCann Road meet. There's a lady that owns like a dilapidated
yeah,
barn and that property. I believe she owns all
Been
that
there
property
forever.
across the street. Yeah.
okay,
All right.
all right.
We will see what we can do.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Anyone else under audience participation?
Joe Atkinson, 112 Bradley Court. As you know, I'm Joe Atkinson. I'm the county leader for New York Citizens Audit. As you also know, we're a grassroots all volunteer organization trying to make sure that our elections are provable and accurate. We're here to ask you to pass a resolution that was put in your mailboxes again this past week, calling for an audit of the 2022 general election in New York State. As of this morning, 31 local governments in 15 counties have passed this resolution in New York State, and 5 have rejected it. In January, I originally presented this resolution to you and you asked me for canvassing data of the counterfeit registrations, which we formerly call clones. We have canvassed 112 counterfeits, and many of them are confirmed. You received a package this week containing new information that we've developed since our last meeting, which includes a triple peer-reviewed article published in the Journal of Information Warfare. There was also an overview of that article because I know that article could be difficult to read with some of the theory and the math that's involved in there. Also in your packages was a spreadsheet. I know it was printed small, but it was put there to illustrate to you that we did actually do the canvassing. Names are redacted and voter IDs are redacted for privacy reasons, but basically you can see that we have done the work.
Can you email that to us? That spreadsheet or a PDF of it?
I can make you a PDF of it.
Because otherwise I need a big
I
magnifying.
got a couple
glass.
magnifying glasses I haven't brought from home yet.
Making notes here. So what we're looking at is there were 740,000 irregular votes cast across New York State in 2020.
Say that one more time, Joe.
740,000 irregular votes. That means everything from dual, more than one voter ID number per person, addresses missing, people voting from industrial zones, churches, schools. And that's not, the law says that it has to be your residence address on that. And things like registration dates missing, votes happening before registration dates. We're finding all of this in the voter database. 338,000 more votes were cast in 2020 than there were voters who actually cast the votes. And I wish Councilman Riopco was here, because as a CPA, he would definitely have a flavor for the fact that we need to have an audit. I mean, if this town was $338,000, if there was a discrepancy that much on the books, you'd be auditing. And the state is auditing the county of Erie right now for 90 grand. So obviously, there's a problem here. 2.4 million state voter IDs are assigned to only 1.1 million voters, which means there's an excess of 1.3 million state voter ID numbers in the system. Law says you're only allowed one state voter ID number. It stays with you like your social security number for life. When you leave the state and come back, you still have that same number. But there are people, I have people in a household, there's 5 voter ID numbers, 3 for the husband, 2 for the wife. And this is common all over the state. In 2022, 5.9 million votes were cast. This allows, according to federal statute, the state to only have 70 ineligible votes across the state, because the statute calls for only 1 ineligible vote per 125,000 cast. That's federal law for federal elections. That means that the town of Horseheads by itself takes New York out of that, above that requirement. We have so many irregular votes in this town, and we're not by far the worst in the state. We've canvassed 112 of the 131 counterfeits that we know live in the town of Horseheads, and we've confirmed many of them. Many people have told us that they're shocked, and many of them are mad that somebody has set up these numbers against the law that they didn't know about. So in your package, there was a peer-reviewed article written by Andrew Paquette. He's our lead researcher. That's the triple-blind peer-reviewed article that was published in the Journal of Information Warfare. In there, he proves scientifically that algorithms are used to manipulate the voter system, the database in New York. And according to the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, which is a federal agency, it considers the New York State voter database to be a part of national security infrastructure. All states are considered to be part of national security infrastructure. And according to our cybersecurity experts, the New York State voter database should have the lowest CISA, or Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, rating of, and I quote, total loss of control. The same corrupted database that we found in 2020 has also been used for 2022. And that's why we're calling for an audit for that 2022 election. Those extra voter ID numbers, those ineligible votes, they dilute your votes, my votes, everybody in the town. It makes your vote less valuable because there's a chance of fraud. And we have found many of these state voter ID duplicates have double voted in the same elections. We have some here in Chemung County. I believe there are 16 of them that have. So it dilutes your votes. So this, among other anomalies, are why we're asking you to approve and sign the proposed resolution for an audit of the New York State 2020 general election. I'm available for further discussion about this at your workshop meeting in 2 weeks, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. I just got your update, so I haven't had a chance to look at it, because you couldn't find my packet. So, gentlemen, read it over. And
one other question that's come up is the town financially responsible for any of this audit? New York State got $80 million in HAVA money. That's Help America's Vote Act. It's all meant for cybersecurity and database operation and that kind of thing. We believe the state still has 30 million of that left, which a statistical audit of the system wouldn't cost near that much.
Anybody else under audience participation? I see we have someone that joined us. Do you have something to say? Go ahead, sir. Is he
Yeah,
on?
can you hear me okay?
Yes.
This is Chad Costello from 142 Biltmore Drive. I'd like to bring up the construction project that's going on in the village that again is using the town residential road as an access point.
It's the Apple Ridge, not Apple Ridge, but Bethany's
Bethany.
expansion.
That's
They are
correct.
Up in the back, they're going up Biltmore Drive. And there's an access road that Bethany owned there. Between Blasky's apartments and the first home. Is that your home, the first home?
No, I'm probably
Yeah.
6 up.
And they're going in that way. We've been up there twice, myself and the highway superintendent. Because of the concern of the cement trucks and the truss trucks. That were gonna be going up there to gain access, and the road cannot handle them. We've asked them to bond the road. I'm talking to our attorney tonight. I'm gonna get a hold of Marty tomorrow to go back up there, because we haven't been up there in a couple weeks since they started, to see the, number one, the condition of our road and what's going up there. I believe he can post the roads through the town board for weight limits. Okay? So if you will email or let Kathy know how we can get in touch with you after we do this, I'll give you a call. After I go up with the highway superintendent, figure out what can and can't do.
Okay. So I know, this week alone, when I took my kids to camp, there were 2 tractor trailers on the road. And then I know other, I realize you'll probably want their names, but they've complained about, their vehicles getting damaged from the debris that's on the road.
Okay,
So I hear that you have that and you're looking into it. I'm just adding that to what I have to
yes,
say.
we've been, like I say, we've been up there a couple times before the
Okay.
project. We didn't know they were going in there. We found out by
So
accident.
they won't let them use that
Okay.
road.
So we've been up there a couple times to talk to the contractors. And we'll go back up, because I know the road's not gonna be able to handle tractor trailers over a long period of time and stuff. Now, I don't know, down the road on Gardner Road, they're redoing that gas plant. Right there on Gardner Road, you know where the gas plant is? I don't-
Yes.
Are their trucks going up Biltmore?
I haven't been there for that. When I walk the dog and I take the kids to camp, I've run into the trucks going to the access to the construction site, so that I can speak to directly. But I'm happy to ask my neighbors
Okay.
if they've seen
Well,
trucks
like I
from the
say, we'll
gas.
check it out.
Okay. I have another
Yeah,
question.
I mean,
I think I know the
We
answer
can
to
move
this.
those off the.
My mistake. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
It would just, would talk to the gas company too, to make sure they're not there.
Okay.
Also,
Uh,
but go ahead, what's your next question?
So I realize it's basically village and town. And this might be moot, but the other night they were going until 6:30. I called the manager of Bethany Village and said, could you keep these, the noise is ridiculous at that hour. I understand. There's a noise ordinance with the village. Is there any, do I have to take that up with the village? Because I'm assuming since I'm a town resident, the village really doesn't, my voice with the village really doesn't matter. I mean, I don't mean to be obtuse, but if I'm not involved in their voting process, me complaining about the noise probably doesn't have a lot of bearing. The message I got from the manager was they can go till 9 o'clock and they're gonna make their schedule. I know how construction projects work and they're gonna fall behind on schedule because of the rain. And so my concern is not only them going past a reasonable hour, if I'm trying to eat with my family on the deck at 4, I think 4 o'clock is a reasonable hour. If they start to slip on schedule again, which they will, they're gonna be able to go till 9 o'clock, and then what if they start going till weekends? Because that's how it works. That's what construction companies want to do. They want to make more money. Any thoughts on that? Is there anything I can request? Is there anything the town can do?
That's a good question. Let me check into it and,
Okay,
guys tomorrow, okay, and you're right, it's right there on the border where you're right next to the village. I would still say that you should give the village manager a call and express your concern too. They're the ones that offered the permit to build that stuff, but there's also, I believe, and I don't know, don't quote me, but I haven't driven up there. I know Apple Ridge is private roads, but also Bethany has a road that comes off Watkins Road. I don't know where it goes. I'm not old enough to go there yet.
Yeah, it gets,
Yeah, you can get there.
yeah,
Yeah, so.
there,
No, not yet, but I was. That road goes to Apple Ridge primarily. It's also used to feed some of the apartments with which they're making the expansions. I don't know if that is a heavy load road. Have you talked to the manager of Bethany yet?
We've talked to the contractors.
No,
No, we
we have
have,
right to Bethany. That
we will now.
Yeah.
I
That's what you
don't,
said, you did say you went to the Bethany manager, right, or the Horseheads Village? manager?
Bethany manager, right?
so I've made a couple calls, but when they were going late the other night, we're probably 50 yards off, so I just kind of, I was loud, but it wasn't an angry yell. I just said, hey, do you think it's time to call it a night? And the construction worker stopped. But then I called and left a voicemail for the Bethany manager and said, can we come to a resolution here on, how late you're gonna work? And, his message was, I don't, we're gonna keep our schedule. So yes, I have called them. I have called, I've left a message for Nate Nagel. Bob Young has been very helpful from code enforcement. So I'll continue to advocate for peace and quiet in our backyard. I understand developments. I understand projects and construction. I understand, taxes and how all that works, but I also think there's probably a line that doesn't need to be crossed. And I think you see the value of the road being destroyed. When I kind of drove around, they could have probably built something from Miller as an access point. Again, I don't think that road is for heavy machinery as well, but they might have had to pay a little to build an access point, but their repairs would have been less. At this point, they're probably, I don't know if the part of Biltmore they're tearing up is a mile, but it's probably 3/4 of a mile that is gonna have to be repaired by someone, so. And that's just probably extra information, but I'm rambling at this point.
Well, I will look into it tomorrow when I come in with my highway superintendent. I will try to get a hold of the manager of Bethany and set up an appointment with him.
Okay. And you said I should email Kathy and CC you.
Kathy Wood is my town clerk. It's C Wood.
Nope.
No, town clerk.
Nope.
No,
It's just clerk@townofhorseheads.org.
you guys change all the emails out.
We've simplified it.
Hey, Kathy, can I assume that that's on the website?
It should be, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Anything else, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for hearing me and allowing me to speak.
Okay. Thank you, and we'll get back to you as soon as I get some answers. Anybody
Okay.
else under audience participation? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to a public hearing regarding rezoning request of West Brothers Holding LP Tax Map 49.03-2-39.12224 North Main Street. East Street Horseheads from Residence A to Industrial Manufacturing. John,
I'm gonna make a motion, we waive the reading of that. Advertisement in the paper.
okay? I need a second.
second.
Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Hi. John,
Going to open the public hearing with regard to the request for rezoning from Residence B to industrial manufacturing. This property is basically a parking lot of the building at the end of, what is it, East Street?
East Street,
East
yeah.
Street,
Where you make.
where it makes the turn to go out to Ithaca Road. Anyone who wishes to speak with regard to this matter? Anyone at all? Motions in order to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Item 9 is discussion of possible action regarding the rezoning of West Brothers.
We're not gonna handle that right now because we're unsure whether the 30 days have passed that allow the village and the county to comment with regard to this. So we'll hold that to the next
Second
meeting, next
2 weeks.
agenda, yeah. 2 weeks should be fine. I think.
Okay, item 10 is a public hearing regarding the amendment of local law 2 of 2023, a local law titled Cannabis Marijuana Regulations Ordinance. John.
Make a motion, we waive the reading of the advertisement.
Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. John.
This is an amendment of the violation sections of the local law that we passed with regard to sticker stores. We want to try to keep them out at this point in time. And I screwed it up. I used just the civil penalty for the violations. I did not put in the penalties for it. So what this will do will make it, if this ordinance is violated, then the first violation can be $1,500 a day to no more than $7,500 per day penalty, or imprisonment not to exceed 6 months or both. The second violation, it goes $7,500 to $15,000 plus the imprisonment would be there. And the third violation, all of these occurring within 5 years, would be $15,000 to $50,000 per day. And or imprisonment for a period not to exceed 6 months. Then we can have also the civil penalty, which we could sue for if we desired for $1,500 a day. So this will just bring it into line with more what we intended.
Right.
So anyone want to speak, comment with regard to that amendment? Anyone at all? Motions in order to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Item 11 is discussion of possible action regarding the amendment of local law 2 of 2023.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Okay, item 12 is a resolution authorizing town supervisor to sign a contract with Mango Metzger Bar to perform an audit regarding community development block grant. The grant we got to help the community over there on Level Acres to do their upgrades of the sewer and water has to be audited, and the only company we could find that would do it is Mango Metzger Bar.
Make a motion to approve the hiring of them.
And it's for $20,000, up to $20,000.
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Wilbur.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher.
Aye. Item 13 is discussion of possible action regarding Highview Circle Town Law, Article 12A, forming a lighting district. I just turned some information over to John tonight that I got from Gary Archambault, and I don't know what's in it.
Yeah, we're putting together what physical amendments we need to make to those. I think it's 4 lights up there.
Like that, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four lights up there, which I think is heads, but I don't know about the poles or anything like
Tom
that.
has some new information from today.
And the other thing we need is an estimate of what the annual cost will be. And then I can put together the order of the town board. Once we have that, we'll get it to the people up there to review. If they don't like it, they can pass a petition to bring it to a permissive referendum among the people who will be part of it. And there's a setup for that also. Then there would be a date established and a vote at that point in time. If they vote against the lighting district, then we'll just go up and tear out all the lights.
Suppose that,
Fairly simple.
Tom, you had some information in there?
Timing is everything. Strangely enough, today, I had received an estimate for the decorator lights. They're talking in excess of $13,000 for 4 lights. Needless to say,
Is that
That's
the
not-
pole also?
hell no,
Just
that's
the,
the fixtures
just the
and
fixture?
and
Okay.
the nod. Now, the thing of it is that those figures are not in my vocabulary at all for this project. It just, to me, that's an outrageous price. Steve Micknick over the years has been very good to the town. And I gave him the information that I had. Strangely enough, from the time I called him to the time I was in his office, he had actually made a trip up to Highview. And what he's saying is that those composite poles are actually at the end of their lifeline. I thought all we were gonna do was put the fixtures or the heads on with a node that's on there. But not being the case. My first question to you, John, is that estimate that we need to work for the residents, that's a year estimate, not a monthly estimate.
Well, for the physical things, we just need to know how much it's gonna be to put in what's there.
Right,
At that point in time. And then then we would compute what it's gonna cost them. On an annual basis,
correct.
and we will just have to figure out, I mean. The town's gonna end up paying for that stuff, and then we're gonna get our money back, so it's just a question of over what time period we're gonna amortize. What's installed physically at that.
Correct,
And-
yes,
And Tom, actually that 13,150 was for 9 decorative tops.
correct,
And then another 125 for 4 additional nodes to go on. those.
correct, but
So
we're talking almost
so-
$1,400 a fixture. which
almost
was-
1,500 a fixture.
Yeah.
Right, I thought you said it was for 4. It was for 9 lights and 4 nodes. 4 additional nodes, because we have some,
Correct,
So
but the cost to the lighting district would be.
oh. Much different, but when I was breaking it down to the individual. Fixtures,
Right.
I,
So you're at
I'm not happy with the
1,650 or something, and we're gonna see if we can get the exact same thing. Cheaper, so.
I wanna see what it is out on the market, and when, the first thing when Steve asked me, he says, how many are you after? 9, he sort of chuckled and he said, you might be better off taking 24. If you're gonna, break it down to the unit price, but, that's just, and the same thing is true. We do it that way because of supply and demand today, and when we had to wait 6 months to change out the decorative bedding, that's just outrageous to have a light out or have anything out that length of time.
So
Go ahead, John.
for up there, it would be basically $6,000. For the light, for the poles and the heads.
No, that's just the heads and the node that goes on it to communicate with the system. And not the pole.
Oh, that's not.
Those poles need to be replaced according to Steve. Micknick
Correct.
said they're at their end of their life. So we're gonna end up replacing those. One is tipping, isn't it? One kind of leaning or something.
Well, it's listing,
Right?
it's a big item in Italy, but
Yeah,
Well,
Stop that.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that with the project,
restaurant's menu
is,
They have to
you know,
match
leaning
everything else.
power.
Can you just buy something on the market to make it work?
no,
No, it
that's
doesn't
not
work.
part of our system. To connect our system, so we need.
The only thing you do is change the
The
poles.
polls we could get.
Right, the
Instead of
polls we
deck
can
to
get
pole.
from anywhere,
But no,
we don't even get the polls through this system. But I think what the residents are gonna be interested in, what is it gonna be on their tax bill?
Exactly.
So it's an
Correct.
annual,
Yeah.
what is it gonna cost them on the tax bill? So you're correct, it's an annual cost.
I was not pleased with the initial figures that we got from New York Power Authority. And one of the reasons I was not happy is that those numbers, those extra fixtures, in my demented mind, were supposed to be included in that original contract. Over and above what we used to actually put in on our initial install.
They failed to order them. It's still part of. It's still part of the funding that we put in place, so it will be purchased through that funding, except for. I mean, these could also, I think, because we hadn't used all the funding, we had contingency money. So we could actually purchase their stuff as part of the bond and spread it out over the bond period, so they're not paying for it in a single year. Just like everybody else is for the update.
I apologize for taking your time on this, but again. I didn't like the numbers that I saw, and I want to see what else is out there, but I want the same item. I don't want to mix and match as far as the fixtures go for what we're using.
But
The other thing,
even with that, if we ordered them from somewhere else, we have the money,
yes,
so we would use the same
Now,
dollar.
what we
Doesn't
need to
matter
do-
if it's NIPA or.
Right, what we need to do is get some figures to these people to see if they want a lighting district or don't want a lighting.
correct.
Yeah, we just get you, exactly.
If they
But-
don't want a lighting district, the poles come out, and everything comes out.
Those numbers changed in the last 6 hours by realizing that. Now the poles themselves, as well as the fixtures, should be exchanged at this time. I do want to enlighten the board to the standpoint. I had just an amazing display noonish today with the code enforcement officer from the training that took place on Monday as to how the system was supposed to work. Now, these were all promises and pie in the sky when we started this 3 years ago and went with New York Public or the New York Power Authority. But when I saw our lighting block, as it's known, with every single light pole and decorative light being displayed on this block, and you could identify or actually call up each of those. And it tells what's going on with that light at that very time. I honestly didn't think I'd ever see it. I wanted it that way. But they did a terrific job, and I'm not gonna be running the system. Hell, I'm too old. I have trouble running my toothbrush now, but this system was really quite impressive as to what it can do and what it's gonna do for us. But I want all those lights working before we're done with them.
Absolutely.
You want to be added to the notification, get a text message whenever there's a problem with the light or it says.
Hell no.
Okay, Tom, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, item 14 is discussion of possible action regarding the animal control service with the city of Elmira. The contract expires at the end of next month. I have not heard anything from them at this particular point, so I will try to contact them about anything. I just soon stay with the city for animal control service. And they have not shown any interest in increasing right now, so.
So wait till next meeting.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll get something. Go with that.
Carry to the September.
Yeah, because.
September or,
Do it September, because 2 weeks, I don't know if Collins get back. that concludes our agenda. Carl, you got anything?
No, I'm good. Steve?
Just about the Bethany thing, do we need to do something to say, okay, when Marty says these roads were only built to handle so many tons?
Once,
He's got to post it.
he's got to post it, but he's got to get our approval, correct?
No,
Okay.
he can post it, but then he's required to bring it back to this
Okay,
board.
that's what it's bring it back.
So he could post it tomorrow, and then we could see it at the next meeting at that point in time. Now, the issue you gotta understand. We have no enforcement. We have no way to enforce it. At this point in time.
Maybe
So we have to go to,
sheriff.
we have to either go to the sheriff, and I don't know if the sheriff has scales and stuff to do that. Or we have to go to
Probably the
state troopers. And their scales are somewhere in East Jesus.
I'll find out tomorrow who
Not-
this guy is now. Because Billy Dobbs used to do that for the state.
Did he?
Police, will be in coffee. I'll
Talk
find out
talk
tomorrow.
to him.
And see if talk to Bill Shaw,
So-
see if the sheriff's office has something.
Yeah.
They may,
John,
they used to.
if Marty sees that he feels that he should post it. Is that, you said it has come back to us for.
Ratification.
But.
We just have to ratify
tomorrow
what he
he
did.
puts that up there.
It's effective.
It's
effective.
effective,
It's effective.
not
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
No,
Tomorrow he puts.
It's effective. We just have to ratify. You guys gotta see it and then determine that's the action you want to take.
Those